our first Museum on the Move Monday. Here we are at Rushen Abbey. My name's Katie King, I'm the Community Learning Officer for Manx National Heritage.
And I'm Anthea Young, I'm the Education Services Officer for Manx National Heritage.
And we've not seen each other for 10 weeks.
No, so this is the first time Katie and I have had the opportunity to spend some time together, albeit we are 2 metres apart.
So why have we chosen Rushen Abbey?
Well, this is probably one of the most beautiful sites at the moment. All of the flowers have started to bloom in the herb gardens. The archaeology is fascinating. As one of our outdoor sites, it provides a really amazing experience, especially in this time of being locked down. So we're able to visit this site. Hopefully you'll enjoy looking at the site with us, and we'll be able to do a few little activities.
Rushen Abbey, if you've never visited before, is a Viking and medieval monastery. Only the abbey grounds survive today, but it was actually founded in the 12th century by a Viking king, King Olaf I, and he granted this land to the abbots and the monks because he wanted to make sure that he was getting some spiritual favour. In exchange for the land, the monks would pray for him and it would curry some favour with the people of the Isle of Man, so it was a prudent move. The abbey itself was once very, very important on the Isle of Man. They owned loads of land, they were the biggest landowners on the island, and it was a magnificent complex in its day. The monks that lived in Rushen Abbey followed some very strict rules. They were known as the Rules of Benedict, and they had to pray up to 8 times a day. And one of the things that I find quite interesting, and you might want to try at home, is that the monks had a vow of silence. They were completely silent all day. Now, I try to be silent for a couple of minutes sometimes, and it's really, really hard. So maybe that's something you can try. Something else that they had to do was they were very proficient writers and readers. And the very first history book, the very first account of the Isle of Man was written here at Rushen Abbey. It was called The Chronicles of the Kingdom of Man and the Isles, and it's absolutely fascinating. It's got loads and loads of Viking skirmishes. And indeed, there's quite a few Viking kings buried here on the site, but we're going to be talking more about Viking kings and their battles in later episodes. But for now, let's go over and see Anthea, and she's going to teach us about some marvellous medicines.
The Cistercian monks here at Rushen Abbey followed the law of St Benedict, which meant that they had to care for sick people and also sick animals. You can see here in Rushen Abbey Gardens that there are many beautiful herbs which have been planted especially for their healing properties. The monks at Rushen Abbey were very concerned with their oral hygiene, and we have today a really interesting recipe to make some refreshing mouth fresheners, which are called spice balls. So what we're going to do, we're going to follow the recipe, which is a 15th century recipe to try and clean your teeth and also to freshen your breath. So the first thing we're going to do, we've got a mortar and pestle, and I am going to mix 3 cloves together. So I'm just going to put those in there and grind them up. Cloves are an analgesic, which means it actually numbs any pain. So those are all ground up. We're then going to add a little pinch of cinnamon, a little bit of mace and a little bit of nutmeg. We're then going to add some cardamom pods. So we're going to pop those in, and then we're going to give it all a big grind up, and already it's smelling very strong. Now at the moment it's a very dry consistency, and I'm going to just add a little bit of moisture by taking these mint leaves, which is commonly used in toothpastes, and I'm just going to grind those up with the other ingredients. Now, you wouldn't want to try this today, but in the day it would offer quite a lot of relief for bad breath, which was a common cause of rotten teeth and toothache. So there we go, a refreshing spice ball.
Okay, so we've taken a stroll from the Abbey grounds down to Lower Silverdale, and here we are on Monk's Bridge. There's loads of evidence around Balasalamaloe and the whole island actually of the monks' influence. As I said before, they were huge landowners. And this is something that's attributed to the monks' period. They built this bridge, or their lay brothers did, and it's actually the oldest and only surviving medieval bridge on the Isle of Man. It's got cobbles to stop the horses from slipping as they were walking up and down, and it's got two fantastic Gothic arches.
The bridge is situated on what is known as the Royal Way, and that enabled people who lived in the north of the island, which is actually in this direction, to visit the south of the island. Now, the reason for that is Castletown is based 2 miles from where we're stood, which was the royal, religious and political centre of the Isle of Man at the time. The bridge itself looks fairly narrow by modern standards, but it's actually quite ample for people to walk across, even with a pack horse. Thanks for joining Katie and myself on our tour of Rushen Abbey on our Museum on the Move. Now, if you'd like to learn a little bit more, why not visit our website where we're going to put some resources so you can learn at home and at school, and then you can download those to continue your trip around Rushen Abbey. Now, next week, where are we at, Katie?
Next week, we're heading up the Mull Circle to learn a little bit more about the Neolithic times. Every day's a school day.